Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pearl of the Pacific. Today is Sunday, January 24th, and this is episode 106. Hello and welcome to everyone. I hope you're having a good day. I don't know what day you're watching this, so I hope you're having a good day, whatever it is. And yeah, welcome to my knitting podcast. I have a bunch of things to share today, so let's jump right in. The only announcement that I have this week is the January and February Blue and White Craft Along, I guess I should call it, is going on in the Knitted Paradise podcast group on Ravelry. So if you are knitting anything that is blue and or white, primarily, it doesn't have to be only blue and or white, you can enter your finished objects into the thread and we'll draw for prizes at the end of February. And yeah, so I'll keep that short and sweet this week. On the island, I have two things. I have 2 pairs of socks, surprisingly, or not surprisingly. And one of them, which is in my lovely homespun house bag, which I absolutely love. I need to get another one of her bags. I love this thing. It's the perfect size for shawls, small shawls, hats, socks, things like that, and it holds up beautifully, and I love it. And it's got horses on it. So, in this bag, I am knitting on my Ludmilla socks for my aunt that are out of GnomeAcres House Gnome in the Baby Gnome colorway. And, apparently I'm in the middle of a row on this one, at least. There are 2. Here's the second one. And they're about at the same point. So I've now turned the heel. So last time you saw these, when I picked them up, at least this week, they were about here, I think. So I've done that much on both socks this week. They're a fairly quick knit once you get going. And these took a little longer because they are gigantic. So this is my Ludmilla pattern that I released earlier this year. And it's got this lovely feather and fan type pattern up the front. And it's beautiful in these tonal purples. Love it. And on the back there's another lace pattern. It's a little hard to see in the highly variegated, but it's easier to see on this one than my original sock, which was a highly variegated yarn. So there's a nice lace panel up the side. And because they're so big, I'm just doing this stockinette section up the side to account for all the extra stitches that are on the needles, because my aunt has she's a tall person and she's got big feet. It's just the way it is. Everyone in my family is tall, and then there's me. Go figure. At least on my mom's side, they're all tall and larger boned, so they all need bigger socks. So, ta-da! And in the pattern, it's written the deep pocket heel with the bottom of the foot gusset. I started hers a little late, so I actually ended up kind of shortening it and just doing the increases like 2 per round or 4 per row instead of 2 like I normally do. So that is what that is looking like for now. I'm hoping to finish those up this week. Shouldn't be too bad. And this one looks pretty much the same, except for that I'm in the middle of the row on the back. Because I wrote the pattern, and I still have to look at the chart. I know. The front of the foot chart I can remember, but the back of the foot chart, I don't know what it is about it. Maybe because I was doing it during other things. Like if I just sat and did it for a little while, then I would probably memorize it. It's not hard. It's not complicated. I just need to figure it out. Oh well. So those will hopefully get done very soon. And then there's no deadline on them. She asked for a pair of socks, and so I decided to knit her a pair of socks, and then I decided to knit everyone pairs of socks. So along with the sock chart of all the socks I want to knit this year, I started a chart of all my family members and their shoe sizes so that I can keep track. Because I'm always, like with my parents, I kind of know what size they wear, but I kind of don't. Same with my brother. So I just asked them, I'm like, what is your shoe size? I'm going to put it in this chart so I don't have to ask you every time I want to knit you a pair of socks. So I've started doing that, and that's been really helpful. And So yeah, so I know her size. I asked my other aunts what their size feet were. So it's all going in the chart, and everyone's getting socks pretty much this year. Kind of. We'll kind of work it out. We're starting with the aunts and maybe then the uncles and then the cousins, and we'll get there eventually. So that's the one thing that's on the needles. The other is another pair of Skew socks. I know, I'm knitting the same pattern twice, guys, like within a month. This is really weird. I normally don't do this, but I loved these so much. So these are the Skew pattern by Lana Holden, and this yarn is Biscotte and C, and this is the Bis-Sock base, and it's in the Minion colorway. And these are going to be for a friend of mine who absolutely loves Minions, and she loved the look of my Skew socks. And so I thought, oh, this will be perfect because it's a self-striping. So it's a perfect thing to do on a self-striping because it makes it interesting and shows off the yarn. So these are going to be for her. She doesn't know she's getting them, which makes it tricky because I can't, I knit at choir a lot, and she's in choir, and she often sits next to me, and so I can't knit on these. I mean, she might not know they're for her. I have knit another pair of socks for her while sitting next to her, and she's like, ooh, those are pretty. I'm like, yeah. But these ones are kind of obvious, the Minion colorway. I may have mentioned it to her at one point that she may be getting Minion socks. I don't remember. Anyway, this yarn was sent or given to me for review, so I will be reviewing it. At the moment, my initial review is that I love it. It's very soft and lovely to knit with, and it's very it's a I don't know how many plies it is. It's fairly tightly plied. I don't have any problems with splittiness. It's not terribly like stretchy. I don't think most sock yarn is. Some socks are more like springy. It's not terribly springy, but it is very squishy, and I really like it so far. So that is my initial review, and I'm using my Yarn Buddy as my bag. So this is just kind of the at-home sock. The Ludmilla socks were my take-along socks, so you can see that I don't get very much knitting done at home. This is maybe a couple evenings, because it's mostly stockinette, which is pretty simple, with some increases and decreases. So these are really quick. And so this has not been a whole lot of knitting at home, but you can see the Ludmilla socks have been getting a lot more attention. I will cast on a second one. I was trying to see what the striping sequence was. They had a sample knit up, and I forgot what the striping sequence was. So I wanted to see what it was, if it was reversible, because then I can pull from the other end of the ball. So I can. So I'll probably cast on a second one of those this week, because I'm almost ready for the gusset increases on those. My friend's foot is a little wider than mine, so I've added 4 stitches, I think, which should be good, because mine fit perfectly. Like, I don't know what I did after ripping them back, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. It was a lot of times. And I finally got it right, and they fit perfectly, and I love them. So I may be knitting another pair for me. We'll see. I have some other self-striping. I'm going to see what it looks like when I get to the gusset, because I'm worried about the gusset increases kind of stretching out the stripes, because at a certain point you have a lot of stitches on the needle, like 100 stitches on the needle. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. We're going to figure that out now. I mean, on that sock, and then we'll see. Because I do have contrasting heel and toe. No, I don't for that one. I don't have contrasting heel and toe, which it would be harder to do on this kind of sock, because you can't even cut in and after hot that heel because it's a diagonal. So we'll see when I get to it. We're not there yet. So those are the 2 things I've been working on this week. I do have 2 things set sail. So I guess those aren't the 2 things that I've been working on this week, but the 2 things that are still on the needles that I worked on this week. The other thing is I finished my Hoar Frost socks. Ooh, let's not hit me in the face with these. And these I have already washed and blocked and worn, and I just washed them again this morning. I had a large pile of worn hand knit socks because I've been wearing them a lot because it's the winter. I wear them a lot in the summer too. but sometimes not as frequently. And I decided, because usually I'll just throw them in the wash with everything else if I don't have time to hand wash them. I like to hand wash them. I just kind of soak a few pairs at a time that are similar colors and then just hang them to dry. But I had a huge pile of hand-knit socks, mine and my husband's and some other things. So I decided to do just throw all the hand-knit socks together with some other delicate items in the washer and just run a delicate load. I don't think I've ever done that. I just wash things on regular wash. So they're still damp and the whole bathroom is now covered in hand-knit socks and other things that I washed this morning. But it's kind of nice. I'm like, oh, I don't need a super long time to wash these things because they don't have to go in the dryer. So none of it went in the dryer. It just all went in the delicate wash and now it's all hang drying. But that was a really efficient way to do it. So I kind of like that idea. But then I have to wait forever to wash them. So anyway, these are the Hoar Frost pattern by Louise Tilbrook, and the yarn is KnitCircus in their Greatest of Ease base in the Brass and Steam colorway. And it starts with this lovely gray and then goes into this almost purpley gray. It's like a lavender gray. And then it's like a lavendery gray with some yellow in it, and then you hit the kind of yellowish brown, and then you hit this bright yellow. I think, yeah, this one has a little bit more of the bright yellow. So I'm very happy with them. It is the same base, the Greatest of Ease, as my Skew socks, but this one seemed thicker. And I did knit them very tall. They do actually come off. If I stretch them up, the cuff will come off the sock blocker. But then you get this weird bump. So I may take them off the sock blocker to dry more, but I wanted to show them on the sock blocker. It's this lovely lacy pattern, and then you have a cable pattern up the middle of the front, and then when you hit the back, you do that cable pattern up the back. And then it just continues into the cuff, which I think is really nice. The only thing that changes is right above the, sorry, I'm picking cat hair off here. Right above the lace, you go into a 1x1 ribbing. But everything else stays the same, which I think is kind of cool that the pattern continues into the cuff. I really like that. I've done that on I think one other pair of socks where I continued it was a mostly stockinette sock with one cable up the side, and I continued that cable into the ribbing, and I really liked that. So I really liked this pattern. I would highly recommend it. It was very simple. Like once I got going, it was super simple and easy to memorize and just zoom along. And I did, it calls for a different heel, but I used my deep pocket heel. Because originally it was a heel flap and gusset and had this pattern all the way down into the heel, which I like too. I like when the pattern comes from the heel, but I decided I liked my deep pocket heel because that's what fits me best. And so I did that. So ta-da! Pair number 4 for the year, if you were counting. I still need to take pictures of the finished socks. I wore them before I took pictures of them just because I finished them and I'm like, oh, they're so pretty, I want to wear them. And then I wore them and haven't gotten around to taking pictures yet because I wanted to wash them and make them look nice before I took pictures. So pair number 4 are done. 5 and 6 are on the needles, and yeah, it's looking like I'm front loading all my socks this year. So this is good, looking good for my 36 pairs of socks this year. We'll see how it's looking later in the year. Because also now that I'm knitting tons and tons of socks, I'm kind of itching to knit other things. So we'll see. I still have a ton of things on the needles that I need to finish out. So maybe I'll concentrate on some of those once I'm like in a race to finish all the socks all at once. And I'm like, Lucy, you can spread these out over the whole course of the year. You don't have to knit them all at once. I'm just on a sock frenzy. Sock frenzy! Speaking of sock frenzy, let's move on to From the Mainland. I got some more sock yarn. Ooh, big surprise, right? The person that I knit the pink socks for, the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted person, asked me if I could knit her another pair of socks and she would send me the yarn. So she sent me the yarn. I'm going to take it out of this bag so you can actually see it. It's a beautiful, like, tonal green and blue. don't know if it's self-patterning. I have no idea. I don't actually know what the yarn is, but she sent me this. There's 2 cakes. This is just one. If you're wondering, you're like, that looks kind of small for a pair of socks. There's 2 cakes like this. And so I'm going to knit her, she requested the Ludmilla pattern, so I'm going to knit her the Ludmilla socks in this lovely colorway. And so that's up on the needles. Sorry, picking things out. Things falling off my lap. Okay, so these are going to be a pair of Ludmilla socks in the near future. And she also sent me a skein of yarn for myself. And she sent me this lovely purple, which is the Lion Brand Sockies, which I've never used, but it feels very nice and very sturdy. It's a 75% wool, 25% nylon. It says 1 ball makes a pair. So that will go in my sock yarn stash. I don't know what color. Let's see what color this is. 138. Grape soda. Oh, it does have a name. Grape soda. So I'm excited to try this. So we'll add it to the stash for some purple socks. All right. The other thing I got, good thing I have show notes, man. I'd like, it'd be a total mess if I didn't have show notes. Sometimes I feel like a total mess anyway. Sorry guys. Thanks for putting up with me. Okay, the other thing I got was from Kitchen Counter Crafter, and she had contacted me a while ago about testing her, or maybe I had contacted her, I don't remember. She was in the process of developing a DPN holder, and I've been looking for a DPN holder because I have an interchangeable holder, which I've showed before. This is my interchangeable holder. It looks like a nice small project bag, but inside there are many wonders. Along the sides there are pockets, actually on both sides, there are pockets for interchangeable needles, and then there's a zipper pocket in the middle. I don't know if you can see that, for you to hold. I have the, I got here, like the things to screw on the end of my interchangeables and the keys to tighten them, and like some things to connect to cables if I want something that's super long. Oh, and if you take the needles out of the project, you can put a little tag to say what size needles you had in there. Really convenient. I don't know if I've ever used those, maybe once. Because I don't tend to take the needles out. I just sit there and wonder, where are my size whatevers? And I never can find them. So anyway, what are these? Oh, those are other things. Okay. So I have my Knitter's Pride Novas on one side, and then my Knitter's Pride Nova Cubics on the other side, along with some random I have a few pair of Addy Clicks. I think I have 2 sets actually. I have a 6 and a 7. And then, what are these? These are 6 and 7s. Yeah, those are extra 6 and 7s over there. And it was just getting really crowded in here because I also had all my DPNs in here. I don't have a lot of DPNs, but they were getting really crowded in here, and it was just driving me nuts. I couldn't get to anything, couldn't find anything. And the cables were getting all tangled, and every time I wanted to get something, it was just, I had to like dump out the whole thing to find what I wanted. It was a mess. So that is much cleaner now. This is, oh, this bag is from Poked Edge on Etsy. Where's her? Here. It is in here. That's it. If you can see that. It's POKDEJ on Etsy, and that's where I purchased this from. And I did a review quite a while ago where I did like, it's just a special episode of me doing a full review. So if you want a full review of that, you can go find that. It's pretty early on. I don't know what it looks like. It might be atrocious. Good luck. So I contacted Kitchen Counter Crafter, who is also known as Java Jenny, and I said, when you're done, you know, figuring out what your DPN case is going to be, I would love to buy one or test one or whatever. So she said, sure, you can test one. So she sent me this absolutely adorable, I'll close it up so I can show you the kitties. Aren't they so cute? Oh my gosh. It's already covered in cat hair, of course. Aren't they adorable? They're so cute. And they even, like, some of them have little birds on their head. It's just so cute. So she sent me this to review, and it's a zippered pouch. Ta-da! And inside, take some things out here. There are pockets where you can put your DPNs. There's 2 rows of pockets in this one. And so there's enough for 6 sets, which is about what I have. I only have odd sizes. I don't know how this happened, but I have like size 9, size 7, size 5, size 3, and size 1. I have 3 sets, or like 2.5 sets of size 1s, and then 1 set of the rest. So it is a little tricky kind of getting the ones in the back corner, but I found if you just like pull it out and do that, it's really easy to get to them. And then I've also got my little thingy of crochet hooks that I've put in here as well, so I can just nicely put that in, or any other notions that you want to keep in here, which is kind of handy. You couldn't do that with a roll-up thingy, I don't think. Plus I like that it's zippered. I don't have to worry about it accidentally coming untied or unsnapped or something like that. It's harder for the cat to get into, pretty much is what it is. How easy is it for the cat to get in here? Not very easy. Good job. So she did have, in this version, she does have these little vinyl pockets where you could stick the size of the needles. She said she's not going to include that in the final version just because it was really, really fiddly to sew. And she's planning on selling, she's debuting these at the January Thaw retreat. So if you're going, you can purchase these. But she's planning on selling these for $20 and then ones without the pockets, so just a notions pouch, for $15. And I think that is an excellent price point for this. I mean, I would have paid $20 for this because it keeps all of my needles together and not with the other ones, and it's super easy. You can turn both sides back. Sorry, I have the super long ones in the corner, of course, and very, very easily get to all of your needles here if you were worried about trying to get to all of them. And that might even, like, I don't think it would stand up, but it might. Oh, it actually kind of does. Well, there you go. It can also be used as a stand. New discovery. So I'll let you know how that goes. When I unwrapped it, I put all of my DPNs in right away. And I've been using them, actually a couple, for the hat that I finished that I totally forgot about. So this week I knit a hat, and I recorded a little section when I finished it because I gave it to my friend yesterday. So I will insert that here and you can see my finished hat, which I used the DPNs on the top of. So here you go. Hello from the past. I am here to show you a hat that I started and finished this week that I will be gifting to a friend on Saturday, so I won't have it for my normal recording on Sunday, but I wanted to show it to you. The yarn is Sun Valley Fibers MCN worsted that I showed you last week that I got in the mail, and this is the final hat. Oops. Ta-da! It's still a little damp, it's still blocking, or drying, I guess. And here it is. Ta-da! It's done. It's based on a picture that a friend sent me from Pinterest. I think it's in somewhere. Sorry, the cat's over here making noise. And she sent me this picture and she's like, I want it in a blue, like a bright royal blue. So here it is. Ta-da! It's a very slouchy hat with a rolled brim. So I used the same strategy as the fluid beanie that I finished last week. And I did it in ribbing, twisted ribbing actually, because that's what the pattern looked like. I mean, I did this out of a picture. And then it looked like it had a couple rows of just stockinette, then some reverse stockinette, then some brioche, which I learned how to do this week. And I don't think I did it right. It looks good, but it's supposed to be fully reversible. It's not. It looks different on the inside. See, that looks more right to me than what it looks like on the outside. I don't know. I was doing this during lunch while playing a game and trying to watch the YouTube video and figure it out. I kind of half figured it out, but you know, it's close enough. It looks right. So there's 3 repeats. There's the reverse stockinette, brioche, reverse stockinette, brioche, reverse stockinette, brioche, and then some decreases. I did actually do some decreases before this last reverse stockinette, and then I think some more, yeah, I did some more before this last brioche to kind of close it up, because otherwise there were going to be a lot of decreases there, and it was already getting really long. And so that's the hat. I'll put it on for you. It's still damp, so it's really slouchy. I was trying to kind of shrink it, because when I took it out of the water when it was soaking, it got super long. It was really long. It was kind of ridiculous. Let's see if I can put it on. And it's drying pretty well. So it's nicely slouchy in the back, which is exactly what she'd asked for. And yeah. So, ta-da! I think this is exactly what my friend wanted. So that's good. And luckily it was a pretty clear picture to work off of, which was nice. And it was, I mean, pretty easy repeats of things. It wasn't something super complicated. So that's the hat, and now I will return you to regularly scheduled programming. Thanks. Hello again, and welcome to the present. Hope you enjoyed that little interlude. So back to this needle case. It was very easy to get my DPNs out for that hat. I may move these. These ones are super long. I don't know. I bought them very early on in my knitting career and didn't really know what I was doing. I thought they were cable needles originally, which they work very well as cable needles. I like having the double-sided needle as a cable needle because I can just knit right off of it. But I think I'm going to put them in the middle, even though that messes up the sizes, because these are the size 7. But I think that will be easier to get them, to put the super tall ones in the middle. And then in the front I have my size 1s and then my size 3, so the smaller ones are in the front. And I have a set of carbons, a set of bamboo. I don't know where these, I use these in as cable needles sometimes, and so they wander off. I don't have a full set of those. I think I have 4, which I guess could be a full set. I don't use them to knit socks very often. Okay, if ever. And my first pair of socks was knit on these wooden ones. And after that, I was like, I'm never doing that again. It was really fiddly. Knitting toe-up socks on DPNs, I don't think anyone does it. The toe is ridiculous. Once you get past the toe, you're fine. But I can see closing a toe might be easier, but starting a toe, it was ridiculous. So that's when I went to Magic Loop, and I like it much better. I'm not against knitting socks and DPNs. It's just not my go-to, I guess. So this is I forget what she's calling these. I'll have to look that up. But these are her DPN cozies or cases or whatever you want to call them. And I really enjoy that. It's super adorable. I love this fabric. I'm really happy with them. So thank you, Jenny, for sending this to me for review, and I will let you all know as I use it more. Oh, I forgot to put my crochet hooks in here. This is a case that my grandmother gave me with some crochet hooks in it. So I have no idea where this came from. Somewhere in the Czech Republic. That's all I know. And I don't know if these are the exact ones she gave me or if I've put more in there, but most of them are like teeny tiny because I use them for socks. Okay, that one's like really teeny tiny. I think these ones are like the teeny tiny of the teeny tiny that I would use for like doilies or something, which is why they're in there because I don't use them terribly frequently. But I do have a lot of smaller ones that I use to save drop stitches on socks and stuff like that. So that's it for From the Mainland. Flora and Fauna, I wanted to share an update on my shawl design. It is now with test knitters, and they are working their way through it. They're actually pretty far. They're like zooming along. It's pretty great. They're asking lots of questions, which is good. I have a couple to answer today, which is good. One of them caught a major mistake in like the setup part of the pattern. I had an extra row in there with wonky stitch counts, and I'm like, how did this happen? I have no idea. But I fixed it, and everything's fine, and they're all zooming along now. So they're great. I love these test knitters. I love all my test knitters. I haven't ever had a problem with test knitters, so that's really great. And I started a my own test knit of it. There's like this much, and I realized I made a mistake, so I have to go back and fix it. Knitting my own patterns, you know. It was my mistake though, not the pattern's mistake. So that's good news. And so that's happening. And then today, my one of my best friends is coming up to help me take pictures of the pattern, so that will be done early on in the process, because that's what held up Ludmilla for a really long time, was that I needed pictures of it, of the socks, of them. Of them. And so that will be taken care of today, and hopefully I'll work on some other formatting. When I send patterns out for test knitting, often a lot of the formatting is not there. Like, it's enough that you can read the pattern, but there's a lot of finishing and like inserting pictures and, you know, prettifying the pattern. I know it's not a word, but making the pattern pretty. That has to be done. It's readable right now, but it's not up to the standard of my other patterns. So I have a lot of that work still to do, but things are progressing quickly, which is great. And I think things are on schedule, and it's due to be released early April at YarnCon at the Leading Men Fiber Arts booth. We're going to do a kit for it. So that's where it will be released first. And I'm already starting to think about my next shawl design, which will be out of two guys yarn company. They gave me some yarn at Vogue Knitting Live. That's right. In was it October? November? Sometime last fall, to do a design, and I'm already starting to think about it and very excited about it. So that will be the next thing. I also have a pair of socks that are on the needles that I've started the design for, so those will also get some work soon. My goals as far as that is concerned is to maybe do 4 patterns this year, 1 per quarter, kind of 1 per 3 months. I think that's fairly doable, especially since one of them is already with test knitters, one of them is already started, the other one I already have yarn for and have started thinking about, and I have 1 more sock design that is kind of rolling around in my head. I haven't quite gotten there yet, or figured out what I'm going to design it out of, or anything like that, so we'll see. The other thing, as far as goals are concerned, besides the socks, is that I want to try and knit 12 shawls this year, 1 per month. I think that's fairly doable. We'll see. That may be all I knit are the 12 shawls, the 36 socks, and the 4 patterns. That may be it. And I'm including the pattern designs as part of my count. So if I design a shawl, that's going to count as a shawl. It's still a knit shawl. So we'll see. But I've been wearing my shawls a lot, and I realized that I kind of, as I talked about last time, I'm kind of gravitating toward the bigger ones right now. And I don't have a ton of them. I don't have a ton of 2 skein large shawls that I can really bunch up around my neck. In the hat video, I was wearing my Levin Tree shawl. I forgot to say that in the video. I was wearing my Levin Tree shawl, which is knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts. I don't remember the base. The mustardy color was the Dippin' Sauce, and the rainbowy color was a one-off version of their OMG Squee colorway. That was one of the monthly colorways that they released, and this was an earlier version, and then they decided to add more color and make it brighter. But I liked the more subdued, whiter version. I guess it worked well with that particular dye pot or dye lot of Dippin' Sauce, and I thought those two looked really great together, and so I decided to knit that shawl out of that, and I really liked the thickness of it, and I can, you know, kind of squish it up around my neck when it's really cold. It's actually warmer this week. It's been in the kind of mid-30s, which has been really nice. I don't mind mid-30s. It feels warm in the middle of the winter. It feels warm, so I'm not going to complain about it. Sorry to all of you on the East Coast who are getting dumped with snow. I hope you are all okay and are enjoying lots of knitting time, and, you know, because you can't go too far. So we have not gotten very much snow lately, if ever. We got some like flurries this week, which my coworker calls he came in to the office one time. He's like, I think someone's shaking a tree outside or it's snowing. So whenever it snows lightly, I call it someone's shaking a tree. That's the kind of snow we've been getting. And I'm like, dude, it's got to be a pretty big tree for, you know, the amount of snow that was coming down. It wasn't a lot. It was flurries. It was like heavy flurries. But I'm like, that's a pretty big tree. So we had a good laugh about that. And now it's a term for kind of, you know, flurries. Instead of calling them flurries, I just call them someone's shaking a tree. It was a fun anecdote. Anyway, the other thing, or the last thing I have from my Hale, I wanted to show off a game that I got this week. It actually came in the mail yesterday. We had a game night at our house last night, and it was really fun. We had a ton of people, which was kind of a stretch for our tiny little apartment, but it worked, and it was really fun. But something that I got in the mail that I ordered off Kickstarter is a game called Cat Tower that was introduced to me by another crafty girl, Sarah. And when it was on Kickstarter, she has it. She has an earlier version of it. And when she saw it on Kickstarter, she's like, oh my gosh, everyone needs this. So, of course, it's Cat Tower. I went out and got it. So it's called Cat Tower. It's originally a Japanese game, I think, that's now out in the US. And it's super adorable. And it's really, once we figured it out, it's really simple to play. And it comes with a lot of different variations. The Kickstarter one came with a bunch of different expansions and some different variations of ways to play it, which really helps with the replayability, because it's a simple dexterity game is basically what it is. And you have to stack cats, and the person who gets rid of their cats, so you get dealt 7 cats in the beginning, and the person who gets rid of their cats first wins. But if you knock the tower over, you have to take back cats. So that's how you accumulate cats. And there's a die that you roll. There's actually 3 dice that came with it for different versions of it. But there's a die that you roll. So either you, dropping things on the floor. You stack 1 cat, or you can stack 2 cats, or you can, that means you have to stack 1 upside down. That means someone else gets to stack your cat, and if it falls, they get to take the penalty, but you get rid of a cat. And then there's the Catty Fatty, where you put a flat card on the cat tower, and then you put a token on it that does various things. And the cats are super adorable. Let me show them to you. So they come, oh, this is one of the Kickstarter exclusives. So they come flat, originally. Sorry, I'm trying to get one out of the box. They come flat like that, and then there's creases. I don't know if you can see those, kind of, where you crease it, and then they look like this. This is one of the Kickstarter exclusives, was the panda cat, which I think is super cute. But you fold them so they look like this. And you actually kind of want to fold them quite well, because you have to stack them on top of each other. So you start with 1 cat, and then you stack this cat like this way, and then you stack another cat. See, this is why you gotta bend them, because you gotta stack them this way. You don't want it to, like, you know, come off. And then you continue stacking up, and then you might get a flat cat. Those are special cards where they don't have the creases in them, and then you put a token on, and they do various things. But it's super fun and super easy once we figured it out. The hardest part we had was when you knock over the tower. In the rules it says when you knock over the tower, the person has to take a certain number of cats based on various things. And then you just leave the tower how it is, and you continue playing. We're looking, I'm like, you can't stack on that. You know, there was like cats all over the place. I'm like, you can't stack on that. So I tried to look it up and we couldn't figure anything out, but we decided we're just going to clear it out and start with 1 cat, which is how you start in the beginning. Oops, that's 2 cats. Yeah, so there's the black cat. So you just start with 1 cat in the middle, and everyone gets 7, and then you start stacking cats. It's really quick, really fun. I really enjoyed it. It's really cute too. The cats are super cute. There's the orange cat. And what are some other ones that came with it? Where are some super... Oh, this one. Oh, here we go. We started naming the cats after a while. It was really cute. So this one kind of looks like our cat. So I named it Pan. There's the original one comes with, I think, like 6 or 7 of these. a bunch of the black cats. Here's another Kickstarter. So there's a red cat, which my friend named after himself. He's like, this is my cat. There's a bunch of orange cats. There's Calico Cookie Cat, which was a Kickstarter exclusive. And then there's these, I don't know, beige cats? I don't know what you call that. And there's the Black Kitty. There's a bunch of different ones. And there's like these little dogs. And it's a cat stacking game. I don't know why they put dogs in it, but whatever. They're still pretty cute. Oh, and then there's the white kitty. So there's a bunch of different cats, which are really cute. And it's just a really cute game. Oh, here's one of the catty fatties, which are kind of cute. So it's one of the flat ones. So there's no creases in it. And yeah, and here's the little tokens. So it's really cute, and it's very portable. I will be taking this to the knitting pipeline retreat because it's super portable. We can get it back in the box. There we go. We had problems. We're like, how do we get this back in the box? It does work. Ta-da! So this is the box. So once they're folded, because they come flat, and you're like, how do they go back in the box folded? But they do. They all stack back in there. Some of them we haven't folded yet, so they're there because we didn't have that many players yesterday. But ta-da! Oh, that can go there. Yeah, there's tons of room in that box, so you can put more here and then put the die maybe along the side. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we fold more cats. But it's super cute. And I think it would be fun to play with your cat. Just have him knock it over. I don't know if Pan's going to play with me. We're going to try it sometime. I just thought it was cute. He did sit on the table last night. He didn't sit, like, on the game, though. He sat, like, on the side, which is really odd because normally cats are, like, all over. And, like, I want to be in the middle of everything. But I think there was so many people last night that he was like, I'm just going to sit on the edge here. He loves people, but I think it was too much chaos for him last night. So he just kind of sat in a corner. But he did participate a little bit in the cat tower game. So that was really cute. So I think that's it for this week. It's a little shorter of an episode, which makes up for the really, really long one last time. So I try to alternate, try to make them not too long, because I know some people really like long podcasts, but if you watch a whole bunch of them, it's really hard to keep up. There are a few podcasts that I watch like regularly, as soon as they come out, and there's some that like it's like, okay, when I get to them, then I'll binge watch a bunch of to catch up, because it's really hard when there's a lot of podcasts. So, but I enjoy them. Sometimes they keep me company at work, just kind of in the background while I'm doing things. But if I have meetings or things where I have to pay attention, or code and people talking at you don't always mix unless they're talking to you about the code. So I can't always listen to podcasts while I'm at work, but I try to catch up as much as I can. And it's a good way to keep in touch with the knitting community. That's why I like podcasts. I feel like I'm more in touch, and when I haven't watched them for a while, I'm like, what's going on? Because you'll see that there are certain trends that kind of go around the podcasters, like everyone's knitting a certain pattern, or, trying a certain new yarn or things like that. So it's a nice way to keep in touch with the fiber community. I like it. So that rant over. I thought, I'll show off my shirt. It says my cat thinks I'm cool. I decided to wear this because I was going to show off the cat tower game. I got this, someone I follow on Instagram was selling them as a fundraiser for cat shelters. And I'm like, I like supporting cat shelters, and I get a super cool shirt. So my cat thinks I'm cool most of the time. Other times he's like, silly human, you are weird. But he's a cat, so he's entitled to think that. Sometimes we are weird, so it works out. All right, I'm going to stop rambling and say goodbye, and hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye. This is hard. I don't have my normal intro, so it's weird.
So just say your normal intro.
Hello, and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name's Lucia. You can find me online as Pearl of the Pacific. I think that's the fastest I've ever said it. Today I'm going to talk about knitting. Mostly this hat that I'm about to show you. Knit out some yarn that I showed you last week.